Yeah, because this is a flattering pose and all. It has been very strongly encouraged that I try vlogging again. And since I actually do have a mount for the phone in the car, and there is car stuff and room in here, yeah, I guess that's what we're going with. Yay. What to talk about today? Let's firstly turn on some AC because it's a little warm in here. Today's date, I believe, is... Ah, crap. Is it June 1 already, or is it May 31? I'm losing track of time. Anyhow, late May, early June, 2020. Been a bitch of a year by and large. I think most of the world population would agree with that at this point. Late May coming into June, we are still in the midst of a global pandemic, COVID-19. Numerous parts of the country are still in at least a partial state of shutdown. People talking about quarantines and wearing masks in public, and even though I'm not wearing one in this video because I'm driving, I am very much pro-mask because I figure the less chance I have of accidentally making someone near and dear to me ill or potentially killing them, then yeah, I'm okay with wearing a mask, even though they're a god-awful fashion accessory. Look at me though, I'm a fashion plate, yay. Also, you know, just within the last week here, we've had another pretty significant uptick in racial tension in the country because of the incident that happened in Minneapolis on Memorial Day. I'm bad with names. George something or another. I want to say it's not Ferguson. I'm just thinking of the city in Missouri. But George got arrested, had a cop kneel on his neck for about 8 minutes, and he ended up with a case of the deads. Can't imagine why. Unfortunately, I do remember the dickhead cop's name because, or at least his first name, because unfortunately, it's the same as mine. I think it's spelled differently though. We try to distance as much as we can. And some of the responses that are happening even now, I think, have been very eye-opening. You get some people who are like, oh yeah, well, the cop should pay, or the cop should get the needle. And I'm pretty anti-capital punishment, actually. But when you've got a guy who did something like that and had 17 prior complaints, I kind of understand that mindset. You've got a lot of people who are feeling like they're not being listened to. And, you know, as much as I hate to say it, they're not wrong. You've got... I've lost count of how many people have been killed in some of these acts of brutality. And people are just... and there just isn't any justice for the victims. I mean, you've got people who are getting shot at traffic stops by the police, unarmed. I did not see the video of what happened to George, and I'm going to be quite honest with you, I don't want to see it. I mean, we all know the end result. He's dead. There's no coming back from that. There is no righting that wrong. I don't care what he did. I do not know what he was being arrested for. I have been asked if I knew what he was being arrested for by some of my near and dear, and I honestly don't know. What I do know is that by the time he was on the ground, he was in handcuffs, and he was no longer a threat. So why the hell did 4 police officers think that it was okay to kneel on his neck for 8 minutes? Even the medical examiner's report, from what little of it I saw, they're trying to say, oh yeah, well, he had pre-existing or underlying conditions. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know what those pre-existing or underlying conditions were, but if you've got heart disease or asthma or hypertension, yeah, having someone kneel on your freaking neck is a great way to exacerbate those, and you're still gonna end up dead. Okay, gotta let my blood pressure calm down just a little bit. The point is that there is way too much of this stuff going on. Since that man was killed, there have been riots and protests and things happening nationwide. A friend of mine was actually in Cleveland participating in peaceful protests yesterday and was tear gassed. So it's not just happening there. It's happening everywhere. And I don't know what to say to make it better. I don't know what to do to make it better, or to help relay that these people are not alone, that not everyone is just sitting idly by and going, oh yeah, this is okay, because this is not okay. I mean, I don't condone rioting or the property damage or the destruction that is going on all over the country right now. I don't think that the looting in I don't think any of that is right. I don't agree with it. I don't condone it. But at the same time, I kind of understand it. And I understand it because people have tried to make themselves heard in peaceful measures. Even the protests that have been going on this week have started out peacefully. I mean, when you have, like, Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, people were slamming him for taking a knee. Oh yeah, that's disrespectful, or how dare you, or all of that bullcocky. I mean, he was protesting years ago some of the brutalities that are happening to people in this country. And I am deliberately not saying black people or white people or Mexicans or women or gay, or I'm deliberately not applying specific labels here, because at the end of the day, we are all people. We all bleed red. Our blood is red. I don't care whether your skin is white, black. I don't care whether you're gay, straight, male, female, Muslim, Christian, atheist, whatever. I don't care. I largely don't care how you live your life. If you are living your life in a way that is not causing harm to others, and you're doing things involving people who are able to give consent, and you're not like I said, if you're not harming others or trying to use something as an excuse to hate, I legitimately do not care. Okay? I don't care. I don't care if you're white, black, gay, straight, Muslim, atheist, Christian fundamentalist. I don't care if you believe in the flying spaghetti monster. Hey, I hear he makes a bitchin' meat sauce, okay? As long as you're not harming others. And that's not, and we've gotten away from that. We are becoming more and more divided in a time where we really, really need to remember that we are best united. You know, we have got people who have not been heard for centuries, 400-500 years at this point. Yeah, closer to 400 still, but yeah. That's a long freaking time to not be heard. And I understand the anger. I think it's well-deserved anger. I keep thinking of the song Invincible from Pat Benatar lately, with the line, "We've got a right to be angry. What are we fighting for?" If there weren't like major copyright infringements and I'm seriously considering posting this video online, I'd probably actually play the song. But I don't know for sure if this video is ever going to see the light of day, and I'm not that great at editing, so it's not happening today. But seriously, look it up. Great song. Tied to the movie The Legend of Billie Jean circa 1985. And the song also made it on Pat Benatar's Greatest Hits CD, which also great track, but I digress. The point I'm getting at, and I think I keep straying away from it, is that people who are being marginalized and are continuing to be marginalized have the right to be angry. Because no one should feel like they're less than anyone else. And no one should be made to feel like they're part of a lower class just because they have a little bit more melanin than anyone else. Or just because they're a different nationality. Or just because they observe different holidays, or any of that. There are 400 plus years of wrong that have been done to certain groups of people. People that are being brutalized even now. And I get that. But the reality is that there is no way to undo 400 plus years of damage. I'm really, really sorry. It can't be done. You know, I can't say that we should reverse the roles for another 450 years because unfortunately, history and people's memories tend to be alarmingly short. And all that would do, which would not happen in my lifetime, obviously, because, dear God, I do not want to live to be anywhere near 450 years old, would be that in that 450 years' time, we'd be back where we're at now, but the roles would be reversed. And at the end of the day, even though it's not your problem or not my problem, because we're not going to be alive by then, it's still a problem. And I think that really the best thing that we can hope for at this point is for everyone to step up, be united, and acknowledge, you know what? This happened. This was not right. People have been wronged, and they were wronged for a really, really freaking long time. And you know what? There isn't any way that we can make that right. But what we need to do at this point is put that behind us. We don't want to forgive and forget necessarily, because I think if we forget, we are doomed to repeat. And I think that remembering, in all honesty, is important to prevent history from repeating itself. So I think at this point, what we really need to do as a people, and possibly as a planet, is to unite and communicate and work together towards a future where there is equality. I mean, equal rights doesn't mean that I'm losing rights because you've got them. Equal rights and equal privilege really boils down to, you know what? I want to be able to have what you have. I mean, if we are going with historical patterns here, I want there to be a day where a black man or woman doesn't have to worry about being murdered by a cop just for driving while black, or you matched a description and have 6 cops pull guns on you while you're in a car with your friends. And unfortunately, I'm not pulling these examples out of the air. These are things that people I know have relayed to me in personal stories within the last 24 hours. Their stories, this may not have happened to them in the last 24 hours, but these are people I know who have had this kind of experience. I mean, I'm of a generation where I'm a member of the LGBT community. I hid that more when I was younger. I don't care as much anymore. It is what it is. And you know what? I understand why pride became what it is. The more I think back of its origins, of that fight for rights, the rights that we are still fighting for, it goes back to, you know, like I said, black people, I'm going to be general here, and if I sound like I'm being overgeneralizing or racist, I apologize. That is not what I mean. And if someone thinks I am putting words in their mouth, please, please, please feel free to correct me or redirect or whatever, because this is not intended to be offensive at all. But I feel confident in saying that most black people want to live in a world where they don't have to be scared shitless walking down the street listening to music while they happen to be wearing a hoodie. You know, Trayvon Martin walking in his own neighborhood, killed by an overly aggressive neighborhood watch guy who walked away from it and has continued to get in trouble with the law since walking away from it. Or Tamir Rice playing with a BB gun in a park, who was shot dead before the police car even came to a stop. And you know what? That pisses me the fuck off. Tamir Rice probably angers me more than any of the other ones that have been mentioned over the years, because Tamir Rice was a kid. He was 12 years old. And I didn't always have the best childhood, but I remember being 12. There was still some innocence there. And whether or not he would have maintained whatever innocence he may or may not have had, because I didn't know the kid, the point is that we never got a chance to find out what he was gonna become. He could have been something great. He could have been featured on the 6 o'clock news 5 years from now. We'll never know. That's the point. We will never know. And the people who did that to him are walking free. The time, we are long overdue to make some serious changes here. And I don't know what all the answers are. I don't know the best way to begin a process that involves healing and moving forward. But know this. When people say Black Lives Matter, or Blue Lives Matter, or Trans Lives Matter, those movements come about because people are being marginalized and victimized. And that needs to end. Violence begets violence. For God's sakes, it's 2020. We should have learned from our mistakes a couple of 100 years ago. And again, I don't know what all the answers are. I don't pretend to know. I would welcome any feedback or input. But know this, if you feel like you're being marginalized or downtrodden or stepped upon, know that you're not alone. There is at least one person out there. You are seen, you are heard, and what can we do to help you? Thank you, cousin. I'm stealing your words slightly, but I love the way that you said it, Cousin Kristen. I think it was, I see you, I hear you, how can I help you? And I like that. I like that a lot. And I think that applies to anyone who feels like they're being marginalized. The fact that there is just so much violence and unrest going on right now is just so heartbreaking. Like I said, I have a friend in Cleveland who was tear gassed yesterday at a protest, and I've seen pictures of some of the destruction that ensued after a lot of that began, and it's just awful. I mean, Nashville, Tennessee, I haven't been into Tennessee since I was about 10 years old, but someone felt the need to burn down City Hall, which was a historic building, and I love history. I love old buildings. And you know what? When it comes to the destruction, people are right. We can rebuild. Like, when Target in Minneapolis was looted, the CEO's like, yeah, we've got insurance. We can rebuild. Yes, you can rebuild. And I am completely grateful that no one was killed in that particular instance. But that's not the case all the time. with some of this. There are people who have been killed in some of these riots and in some of these periods of unrest. And was everyone 100% innocent or not? I don't know. I don't have the answers. But all I know is that while we seem to be becoming further and further divided, this may be a time where we may need to stand united more than ever. I think that our survival as a country, and possibly to an even lesser degree, or even a greater degree, the species may depend on it. And I don't know what else to say about that at this moment, so I think I'm going to sign off here for now. But if you made it this far and I haven't bored you to tears, thanks for listening, and Godspeed.